ready to beat Andrew Cuomo? Are we ready to win a city we can afford? Are we ready to make history? Let's go out there and do it. Thank you, my friends.
That was Democratic Party candidate for New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani appearing at a Brooklyn club on Sunday night to rally the vote. And not just one club, by the way, but 6, all in a single night. Now, Mamdani has good reason to be cheerful, though. With New York City heading to the polls to elect its new mayor tomorrow, Mamdani is looking in prime position to take the top job. The latest poll published this weekend puts Mamdani 7 points ahead of independent candidate and disgraced former New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo, and the Republican candidate Sir Curtis Sliwa trails Mamdani by 16 points. Most other polls, some as recent as last Friday, show the socialist candidate leading Cuomo by double digits. And that has New York's richest kind of worried. The New York Post has today published a poll claiming that almost 1 million New Yorkers will flee the city if Mamdani becomes mayor. If that happens, the paper says, it'll be the largest exodus in the city's history. So what are they also scared of? Rent controls, free bus travel, city-owned supermarkets, ooh, maybe all of the above. One thing's for sure, though, the rich have been throwing money at Mamdani's rival, Cuomo, and they haven't been getting a lot of bang for their buck. Dropsite News has reported on the billionaires using their cash to try and throw Mamdani off track. Candidates for the mayoral position are entitled to city and party money for their campaigns, but they're also allowed to use independent funding, channeled through PACs when it involves very rich people, that stands for Political Action Committees, in order to bypass electoral rules. Dropsite reports this. An analysis by Dropsite News shows that as of Thursday, independent expenses backing Cuomo were more than 7 times the amount of money put behind Mamdani. Cuomo has exceeded Mamdani by a staggering $36 million in outside support. The difference highlights just how much independent expenses can skew the overall financial support behind a candidate. Now, the billionaires who've contributed millions to Cuomo's campaign or to PACs which are against Mamdani, not directly supporting Cuomo, include former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, Ronald Lauder, of the former chair of conglomerate Estee Lauder, and Joe Gebbia, the co-founder of Airbnb. And of course, there's also the very familiar name Bill Ackman on that list too. He's the prominent Trump supporter and pro-Israel businessman who's given nearly $2 million to funds opposing Mamdani's run for NYC mayor. Now, the results of the election should come through in the early hours of Wednesday morning, when we'll know whether all those millions on taking down a socialist were worth it. In the meantime, Mamdani didn't seem too bothered. This morning, apparently coming home from his club tour.
Go get him, Mr. Mamdani.
Thank you.
Barry, why are the millionaires and the billionaires and the gazillionaires all running scared of Zohran Mamdani in New York City?
Yeah, 6 clubs in one night. It takes me back to my 20s, and now it just makes me feel completely exhausted. So respect for him for that. Also, he's just an amazing campaigner, isn't he? To see that footage of him walking back from the clubs, he's a fantastic political campaigner. He's a natural. I think they're terrified. I think it's clear that they're terrified. And when you look at the amount of money involved, it's not normal campaign funding. It's an avalanche of funding. So it certainly looks like they're frightened to be putting that much money up. And like you say, there are loads of really pragmatic policies that are coming from Mamdani that would be, on the surface of it, really good for the people of New York. But they are intent on protecting their own financial interests. It's the usual suspects who are handing that money over. Not surprised by any of those names. I think to some extent it goes beyond protecting their financial interests when you see the likes of Bill Ackman there, who I am fairly sure does not want a Muslim man to be the mayor of New York. And I think it points to a sort of a fundamental problem with political funding in the US. I don't think it's working. I think you're right. I think Mamdani is looking like he's going to be elected. We also have some precedent for that with the AOC campaign. She had a lot of powerful interests lined up against her, also in New York, and managed to win with a grassroots campaign. Nevertheless, there is they may be exceptions to the rule. And so when you look at the PACs, the super PAC system, they are mostly funded by big business, by wealthy individuals. There are progressive PACs or more left wing PACs, but I think I read somewhere that 65 or 66% of PACs and super PACs in the US are right wing. Um, and so it's very difficult for progressive candidates to be lined up against that type of money. And again, while it's looking good for Mamdani, I think that money can destroy leftist candidates and does destroy leftist candidates in other elections that we've seen in the US.
Yeah, there's something about, I don't know, Mamdani's style. I mean, it's also the simplicity of his policies, right? The kind of cut through that they have. But I think as you said there, like his ability as a communicator, that's something that money can't buy, and that money
Yeah.
seems to find very difficult to defeat. And that's something for the left everywhere, I guess, to get their heads around.